Sup? This is the SUP Hub Podcast with your hosts Iain and Adam.
Lovely, cool. Hi guys, Ian McCarthy,
Adam Collins
from SUP Hub NI, and we're doing this. This is the official SUP Hub podcast. We don't have a name. Feel free to message us, suggest whatever you want. We've had all the rude ones already, so we'll work that out in due course. And this is basically our way of, well, how did you put it a minute ago? That was pretty good.
That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I
Can you
haven't a
remember?
clue. I think it was why we started this and...
Your reason for it was something to do with man caving almost, wasn't it?
Oh, that one, yeah. Well, it's kind of an actual, proper, good excuse for us to get together and chat and not have the wives shout at us going, I'm not interested,
Yes.
paint this wall,
Yeah.
you're home, do
Here's-
this, put up another shelf.
Here's the list of chores. I'm not interested in the size of that paddle blade.
Yeah, which is crazy.
I know. Who
Why
isn't
wouldn't you be
interested in
interested? Why not?
Yeah. So, and what else? Why else do you want to do it? Let's do it.
I don't know.
that.
I think we started off, we just wanted to have some, I think we were talking actually, if I remember correctly, a couple of months ago, and we're going, there's nothing that we've noticed that gives honest reviews without paid kind of reviews, and kind of something where it's just, there's no airs or graces, it's honest reactions to things and reviews of it, and also something that's in our vicinity, local to us, geographically and climate. Because as much as we think it's the Bali Bahamas or whatever you said, it really isn't. And it's kind of a little bit wibbly wobbly and a little bit chilly willy.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, yeah, it's the Ballyhamas.
Ballyhamas.
And it is the Ballyhamas most of the time.
It's not.
I completely agree. So I think, that's basically where we're at. And we're in for trying to talk all things paddle with you, from where, who's doing it well in different places, like get people in our local community to come and join us and in some of these conversations and sort of what their reason for paddling. Everyone's got a different reason why. There might be a lot of shared ones, but everyone's got their own thing, I find, with paddling. So it's cool to hear some of those stories. So on that, can you tell us about your first paddle? Where was it?
My first paddle. I remember it well. It was, I think, I'm trying to remember the name of the dude who was really, really good, but it was up in the north coast in Port Ballantrae.
Nice.
And it was when
Good spot.
it was gorgeous as well. We lucked out on the day. It was when me and Donna first moved over from London over here, and we were just trying to get out because we moved in with the in-laws for a few months. As I told you, I had a tour. I was an audio guy, roadie, and I had a tour get cancelled literally as I was getting on the ferry. So I was going to be away for 3 months in North America, while Donna would have to, find somewhere for us to live, and then that got pulled away from us. So
you had to do stuff as well.
yeah, kinda. So I think every weekend and every evening we were making excuses just to get out there, see the country, and do things. So it was up in Port Ballantrae, and we did a 2-hour lesson,
Nice.
or something, with a group of randomers. But it was great, and really enjoyed and really good fun.
Cool. Did you fall in, jump in, any of that?
Definitely jumped in, definitely fell in. I'm trying to think. We did a couple of different games and a few things,
Cool.
but I'm fairly competitive. So soon
Are
as
you?
just a little bit. Just a little bit. I think it was this is cool. This is good. And then as the confidence got up, and the guy who was
Pushing
taking it,
Donna off.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It was I don't know, some form of weighted throw-in sock thing. And I was trying to take everyone's head off to hit them in, and then I overthrew it, I think, and that was the first time I went in. But it was great fun. It was, it was really good. And it was kind of, I don't think I was hooked then.
Right.
And the second time we did it in Sicily, but that was like an airbed. You know, that wasn't really paddleboarding.
Like
that was
airbed in terms of the board quality, or in terms of it was just uninflated, or
both.
Right.
It could well have been
Perfect
an
combination.
airbed loosely in the shape of a paddleboard, like loosely.
And what sort of setup was that? Because like I always have this dream whenever you go to places like Sicily, like the sort of Sunshine Coast places, and you sort of dream and hope that, you know, it's all, you know, super cool kit, all ready to go on a sandy beach, si por favor, whatever your lingo is at the time. I don't even know.
Yeah, great Italian.
Yeah.
Por favor. Yeah. Cerveza.
And you know, you grab your kit and in you go, and
Yeah.
it's all like idyllic. But then the 2 or 3 times I've done it abroad in those sort of locations, I've just found it's like some person that basically shouts €10 at you and chucks like the worst piece of equipment ever at you. Like that's the thing that always really gets my goat, is then when they just don't give a toss about what item they're holding, like what they're giving you, no matter how big, tall, short, whatever you are.
Well, this is why we chose this place.
Right.
Because we fancied doing it, and there was a yacht club, and I want to say it was north of Palermo. I think it was Palermo-ish. And saw the yacht club, stunning boats in the harbour, you know, and they had some really good boards. They had loads of good stuff, and he went, oh yeah, no, this
They'll
looks
know this
proper.
stuff. Yeah.
And oh, look at that guy. And this guy was going out, you know, and he going, oh yeah, cool. So I went up and we spoke to them, and the guy called us in. Yeah, no problem, you know. You English? Oh yeah, come in. So we did all that, and then
You
we
English? It's like, no.
No, well,
Absolutely not.
Actually Welsh. Well, you know, it's not bad. Normally I say no, because generally the Welsh are nicer and get on
Get a better response from any other nation.
But the guy was like, he was really good and accommodating, and I saw all the race boards and going, oh cool, like, oh sweet, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like Only Fools and Horses, where it's like, and this is yours type of thing, which was, it kind of, like, I had no experience. We went out once. I went, oh, okay, fine. Is this all right? And he's going, yeah, you'll be fine. So we, like, you know, took it out to about knee height,
Right.
in the water, and it was stunning, and it was just so beautiful. And I literally jumped on, and the front hit me in the head, and the back hit me on the head, and I just went, oh yeah, cool. Cheers, Mario. Thanks for that. But yeah, it was still good fun, and yeah, me and Donna enjoyed. And then I think soon as we got back, I think like a week later, we went somewhere else, and
Right.
yeah. How about yourself? How did you get into the paddle of the boarding?
The paddle of the boarding. I thought about this last week, and I still can't tell you which came first. I'm pretty sure it's basically, I think my first time I touched the paddleboard was on the River Dart down somewhere southwest England, and my mate had just brought a longboard, and we were down there collecting that longboard from a surf shop, and we noticed there were people gathering with paddleboards. We didn't really know what it was at the time, and this must have been back in 2009, I want to say, 2008, 2009. And then, so basically he threw his board on the water because someone said, oh, that'll, you know, it won't be fast, but it will do as a paddleboard. It'll float and you'll be grand. And then they handed him a paddle, and then someone else who was there with their own board and all of that just said, do you want to give it a go? And I'd literally, like, we'd just arrived down there to collect his board. So I was there, like, in a work shirt, and I'd just put on a pair of shorts. So I'd, like, looked totally unprepared and inappropriate for it. But jumped on the board and gave it a go, and I was like, it's all right. You know, if I'm perfectly honest, underwhelmed, but I think it was like 2 minutes on the board, in, out, and then we were off again. But literally that weekend, we were then back over on the north coast for him to start surfing his longboard. And as we, like, there's anyone that knows the area, it's like we were driving past Saunton Sands on the way to Croyd, and we looked down at Saunton because we were like, do we just go straight in, or should we go round to the house first? And as we looked down, there were like 3 guys on board standing like way beyond the sort of bulk of the line out. And they were all like, oh man, that looks pretty cool. They like, because my mates who were super good surfers, I was fairly average, if that, and they were like, oh, that just looks super cool because, you know, it's just going to be easier to get out there using a paddle. That'd be class. Then plus the fact you're already standing, you can adjust your stance, get on the waves, like bigger waves, wait for bigger sets. You've got much better sighting of incoming sets, all of that sort of stuff. Like they were just looking at going, that looks super cool. So young, free and single, disposable income. We went like literally the following day to some local surf shop and we were like, hit me up with those boards and sticks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we were just like, we were in the pub that night talking about it and we're just like, it looks cool, let's just give it a go. And I remember, so that Werner Spanker, which is like by far the best name ever for a paddle, which is like this 100% carbon, massive blade, all carbon paddle. The guy just saw me coming because, like, you know, coming down from London for the weekend, as I say, young, free, single, nothing else to spend money on. And the guy was just like, you need this in your life. And I'm like, it's called Spanker. Yes, I'm going to buy that because I'm an idiot. And so brought that and I brought a board. And that was like basically what had actually funded that. My nan had not long died. And I'd randomly inherited like £1,000 from her. And so I spent that money on the board and the paddle.
Sweet.
And so I don't know why I did it this way round, but basically I named the board Madge after my nan and the paddle Ginger after my granddad. You know, with which everyone just gives me shit. Like, why are you riding your gran?
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Exactly.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
It's a tribute. So yeah, and that's sort of where we really got into it. And I sort of, you know, we sort of played around with it. And I'll be perfectly honest, I was really crap to start with because like my mates were going out and they were really good surfers, so they'd hit the line out, they'd be quite far out. I was a bit worried at first, like I had like some fears to get over in terms of like going through chop and swell and all of that sort of stuff, and didn't really know what I was at, you know, because a lot of people, you know, you just pick the stuff up and you go out and you give it a go and you just sort of push your own boundaries as you go. And then it was funny really because we, like in one of the many drunken weekends we spent down there, there were a few things happened and we wanted to raise some money for a charity, this Sobel House. It's like a respite care facility. And we decided that we should paddleboard the length of the Thames to do it.
Nice.
And so this was then in 2000, this was like 2011. None of us had any lessons, and obviously the Thames is like flat water and then tidal, so a completely different experience to like the sort of surf SUP that we had been doing down in Cornwall. Yeah, and so it was just on a bit of a drunken whim that we decided to sort of do that. We trained for 3 or 4 months, made a plan, went through all the appropriate stuff, got the Port of London Authority to help us, blah, blah, blah. Like, did all the basic right things, but we didn't really know what we were doing in real terms. And that was like 4.5 days of like 70k paddling for the first like 2. We were really trying to eat up the miles in the sort of flat controlled part of the Thames. And then when you hit tidal London, you basically have to just paddle with the tide because like trying to paddle into it is just ridiculous. So it was, you know, you're only going to be paddling max 6 hours on those days. But yeah, so we managed to do that in 4.5 days, and that was just crazy cool. Like I fell in so many times. I did it with 2 mates, Bangor and Adam, and my brother did it in a kayak.
That's cheating.
It was cheating, yeah. I think
doesn't count.
The best one was it was a super cool experience, and that's definitely like doing that trip made me fall in love with paddleboarding. Like that whole adventure piece was like absolutely that's my bag, as it were. You know, that was what I really got out of it. And then like where I was living in London, I was super close to the river. It was like a 30-yard walk out the back of like, it wasn't a back garden. It's like an air gap between the outside wall and our house or our flat. So yeah, I could like walk my board into the river like 30 yards away, and that meant like no 6-hour commute to Cornwall every weekend to do a sport that I wasn't as good as my mates at. Whereas I could like kick their ass on flat water like outside the back of my house. So that became like my thing there. But the funniest part of that Thames thing was we finished it, and obviously like I think we can claim we're the first people to paddle stand up paddleboard the Thames source to sea. If someone else out there has their evidence of doing it before, well done, that's great. But I've always sort of said,
well done, yeah,
we're kind of the first.
Where did you start then? Where's
so
the source?
It was like at the source we walked, because like it's unpassable. It's like in the arsehole of Cirencester somewhere, like out that way. It's in the middle of fucking nowhere, and it's like, yeah, I think it's more easy to find now. I think they have like signage and stuff, but like ultimately it's like a random spring coming out of the water, and half the time
Peckham
there's
Springs.
nothing even there. So yeah, so walked the stretch of that, and then basically from the navigable part we hopped on the boards and just started going, and we'd sort of like we'd begged, borrowed and stole some boards from a few places, and Starboard, I think we brought one board from Starboard. That was the first like proper touring board that I brought. I can't remember the name of it. Really cool Starboard board, which I was fawning over when I got. But yeah, and then I suppose that was it. The funniest part about the whole Thames thing, that I was going to say was after we'd done it, we thought we were like, young lads, done a big charity adventure thing, thinking we're like the dog's balls. And like 2 weeks later, there was a 10k race on the River Thames in Kingston, and so we were like, let's go to that. Like we're on it. We own the Thames, right? That's embarrassingly, that was the sort of arrogance of youth. And we turned up to this thing, and I'll never forget. There were loads of guys there, and we were honestly, it's embarrassing. I cringe when I think about this, because we were walking around as if it was like, we're going to win, we really thought we knew what we were doing because we'd done this Thames thing. And we were wasted by all these people, like everyone. We were, I think we were even DNFs, did not finish. Like we were useless. And it was embarrassing. And I'll never forget, there was a guy who I won't name his name. I'll talk about him in other episodes, but he came up to me, and he's very big and famous, and he's literally written the book on Stand Up Paddleboarding. And he very gentlemanly came up to us afterwards and just sort of said, hey guys, really good, like well done on the whole Thames thing that you were telling us about, but what you might want to try. And he said like 2 or 3 things, and this was like, I don't want to say it was pre-internet, because obviously it wasn't, but it was, it was pre the days where you could just Google anything and there'd be a lesson on YouTube or anything like, Yeah. So like we hadn't done that depth of research, and we stupidly hadn't had a lesson. And I shouldn't say it. It sounds like I'm selling it, but ultimately it would have made us a lot more efficient. And yeah, Simon just gave me a few tips on. So
what was his name?
No.
Sorry, was that Simon?
Gave me a few tips on like the whole vertical paddle thing. Because even imagine we've just done like over 220 miles. We're just hacking away. We're just literally hacking away, scything our way along the river. So, like massive learning curve. Did so many things wrong. Made so many mistakes. Blah blah blah. Cool. But all of that was just like part of the fun of it, And I think that that trip and the training for that, and then afterwards that race, like quite frankly, that. Just made fools of us. That's what made me fall in love with it, because I was like, this is, there's a lot more. There's loads of good stuff that you get, like from just getting out on the river or getting out on whatever waterway. But there really are loads of nuances in it that you can take this as far as you want. Like there's no limits in what you can do on this, and that sort of excited me in my,
Is that why you like to patrol the beaches and look out?
I knew you were going to bring this up.
To see if there was anyone that you could maybe help out a little bit with the technique, aviators.
I'm going to check to the camera here because you are leading this conversation towards where we first met. And well, tell your version of events and I'll give my perspective on how that played out.
Well, your perspective is fine, but what actually happened was me and Donna, we bought a couple of boards, we sold a van, so we needed some more transport. At the time, I didn't have any transport on the water, so I thought paddleboards, perfect sense.
Yeah.
So we had a couple, and we were cruising.
Paddle to work scheme.
Yeah, paddle to work. That should be a thing.
Absolutely.
Paddle to work should definitely be a thing.
Absolutely.
So we were in Ballyholme, and I think we were just coming off the water, and we were just mucking around, just mooching, as you say, minding our own business, not trying to look cool, not trying to do anything, just going, just a little bit of a paddle. And then you're stood on the beach, and I went, who's this guy? Because you were just, you can tell when someone's watching you, when you just walk and you stop and you look, you're shaking your head, and then you walk back. The little buck comes out and he's making a couple, and I'm going, is this a guy, policeman? And what's going on? Have I what's happening?
This was pre-COVID as well.
This was
policemen on the beach monitoring paddlers.
And so I come in, and you've got those flip up aviator glasses.
Such a bastard.
So you got you got these glasses that flip up, and you just kind of press this little switch. So the shades come up.
Can you edit this? We get fact check come up on the screen.
So the things come
fake
up
news,
and you go,
man. Fake news.
It's not fake news. You flick out your little cigarette, or put it out, nicely. So you flick it out and you go, have you been paddling long, friend? Slight exaggeration, but you basically rip my technique to shreds. Go, well, I think you did the old, I'll give him something positive, first of all. And he went, you're looking as if you're having fun out there. I went, what's coming now? What's coming? Yeah, but you lost a lot of power in the stroke there. Have you had lessons before? And then you flip out your card. And then, that's how we first met. So I thought, okay, numbnuts, I'll see how good you are. So then I think my sister and husband came over a couple of years ago in January. It was like January the 11th. Yeah. So it could have been her birthday, which was January the 11th. And it was hailstones and absolutely pissing down.
Yep.
And we were the first group lessons of the year.
Yep.
And then I went, okay, so you may know a little bit. Only a little bit.
Only a little bit. You'll
just
give me that.
Just need to work on your figure in the wetsuit.
Give me that.
Yeah. But
I do need to work on my figure in a wetsuit. So we'll just fact check that story.
All 100%, 99% true.
Just checked it all. It seems all accurate.
Boom! Boom!
Spectator newspaper. Here's a picture of you doing it.
Yeah.
Boom!
So, the way I record it is slightly different. But no, I felt...
It was the shorts, those 1980s Nike run-in shorts.
The Mr. Motorate.
Why lunge when you're talking to someone?
You've got to lunge.
That's weird.
If you're giving coaching advice, you have to be
Don't
lunging.
lunge.
Isn't that playbook number one?
No, Americans take a knee if they're instructing people. Fine, a bit odd, but don't lunge. Flip up your weird little specs with the things and just start lunging. It's not cool.
I like it. I want those specs now that you've created them in my mind.
It is getting better, that story, isn't it?
It's getting better. It's getting better. So for anyone that doesn't know what SUP Hub NI is, it's a SUP school. So it's there to facilitate anybody coming out and getting on the water. So whether it's a family with their young kids, whether it's, after school club, whatever else.
Welsh people
are welcome. No, so it's just anyone and everyone. I mean, we've had last year we had an 84-year-old lady who came out paddling with us regularly. There's no barrier to anyone getting out on a board and getting it done. So SUP Hub is just all about facilitating that. And we, at the same time, we want to promote the local area. We do an awful lot, I think, to promote the local area and local businesses within that. We try and collaborate with them as much as possible. We also work with a bunch of local community groups, schools. We try and do fundraisers. Well, any of our fundraisers, generally speaking, are for the local lifeboats, like the Santa SUP we did last year and this year. I just felt it needed someone to grab the sport by the balls over here and like push it. I set it up, but my wife's from Bangor originally. When we moved back here, like it just shocked me how few paddlers there were out on the water. And yeah, and I was just like people need to be doing this. This spot is like perfect for paddleboarding, you know, like touring around the coast. You know, we've got an awesome coastline here. We're like surrounded by water because we've got the Strangford Lock on one side, Belfast Lock this side, the Irish Sea over there. Like it's, you know, whatever way the wind's going, you're never more than 30 minutes from a decent paddle. So it's just a great spot for it. So it shocked me that not many people were doing it. I met the odd few, and then so I just thought we'd set up SUP Hub. We'd sort of introduce people to the sport, and it was just that. Like it was as simple as, you know, you can do this here, so why not create the infrastructure to help people do that? And I think, you know, my view is very firmly, no matter what size, shape, physical ability you are, you can paddleboard. The water's there, and it just needed someone to go, guys, this is how you do it, let's get it done. And so we've sort of done that. You know, we've shown people the pathway. We're getting people do it. I think we've existed for like 22 months, and we've put over 1,000 people on the water.
Is that how long have you been doing it? 22 months?
So the SUP Hub as a business has been 22 months, yeah. We just love paddleboarding. We love all things paddleboarding. We love being out on the water. So if you want to get in touch with us or come out on the water with us or just see what we do, our website, SupHubNI.com, or just catch us on Facebook or Instagram at SupHubNI. And just to be clear on that, that is SUP, S-U-P, for Stand Up Paddleboarding, Hub for a hub, and NI for Northern Ireland, which is where we are.
Boom.
Not SupHubNI, as my brother still insists on calling it.
I'm going to call it that from now on.
Yeah, no,
SupHubNI.
SupHubNI.
Thanks very much for watching. So thanks for tuning in, and be sure to click on the link below, which he is doing. And yeah, see you next week. Adios.